I was writing a sports column for a little throwaway weekly paper called the Boston Ledger. And there was a guy doing sports commentaries on WBUR locally named Michael Gee, a terrific writer, wrote for the Boston Phoenix and then for the Boston Herald. And he was doing these commentaries. They were very good, very literate, smart, politically, savvy. And the Phoenix, the paper that he was working for, bought a radio station which became WFNX, and they told Michael, you can't do the radio stuff for BUR anymore, which was ridiculous because I don't think there were 10 people in the city who listened to both FNX and BUR. But anyway, so he was gone. And one day I was listening to BUR and I heard this terrible sports commentary by this guy who didn't recognize his name or his voice or anything. And it was Alan Dershowitz. And he was a friend of the news director, a woman named Carol Rissman. He was a friend of Carol's, and he had talked his way into doing a Celtics commentary. It was awful. So I had been sending them cassette tapes of my newspaper column after Michael Gee left, saying, hey, I could do this, and they never replied. I never got anything back. So I wrote a smart-ass letter to BUR, and I said, look, you certainly can ignore my stuff if you want. That's your prerogative. But for God's sake, get Alan Dershowitz off the air. He's an embarrassment to your station and to himself. He may be a fine lawyer, but he's a terrible sports commentator. And about 36 hours later, I got a call from BUR, the tone of which was basically, okay, wise guy, come on and let's see what you got. So I came in with two commentaries. One was on the Boston Marathon, one was on opening day at Fenway Park. And the news director liked them both. And she said, why don't you record these and we'll put them on the air at the appropriate time and that'll be fine. And then in 6 months or so, when something else happens that's important in sports, you call us again and we'll do something else. And I went home and I said, boy, if I wait, this is going to die on the vine. So about 3 days later, I called and I said, something really important has happened in sports. I think I better come in again. And it was in 1984. And I did that until throughout the next 25 years for both BUR and NPR. So the trick was to be a smartass at the beginning and then to just have stuff for the radio. I was lucky. BUR was in an expansion sort of mode at that time. They were trying to do more and more stuff and making a transition from being a music station to a news station. So I was very fortunate.